And Village Board, you are live.
Everybody, good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the East Hampton Village Board meeting, and today is Friday, January 19th. Welcome. If I could ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as you might know by now that Mayor Jerry Larson is not here today, so my name is Chris Minardi and I'll be running the meeting. Roll call, please, Lorraine.
Deputy Mayor Chris Minardi.
Here.
Mayor Jerry Larson has an excused absence. Trustee Sandra Melendez has an excused absence. Trustee Carrie Doyle.
Here.
Trustee Sarah Amadon.
Here.
Administrator Marcos Balladrone.
Here.
Village Attorney Lisa Perillo is joining us on Zoom.
Is she on Zoom? Lisa?
She has not signed in.
Okay. When she signs in, do you know? Was that Toby?
Yeah, I'll get an alert.
Please, thank you. Excellent. The first thing I'd like to just see is I know the high school might have been coming here to make a presentation. Are they here? Because if there's any kids here, I want them to go first.
I think there might have been a problem with the bus due to the weather.
Okay. So no, there's no kids here. No, let's go back to school. All right. So if there are high schoolers that they come here, I'm going to kindly ask that we just insert them in so that they can get back to school. Okay. I'm sure you all understand that. That'd be really great. So the mayor's announcements. The East Hampton Village resident beach parking passes will be a special sale on this Tuesday, the 23rd. Is that the 23rd? It will be at the Emergency Service Building, and this is where we offer the parking passes at a reduced rate of $500 to accommodate all local town and local people that want to take advantage of a discount. So it's a one-day sale only. We kindly ask that you bring a photocopy of your driver's license and a photocopy of your registration and a check for $500. If you don't bring photocopies, it's just going to delay your process. Last year, we had a very seamless day, but you do not have to come early. So please, you have all day to come. We did have a line, and we knocked that line out in about an hour or so. So please, there's no need to rush down there. We did not sell out last year. We came close, but there's no need to stand outside in a line. We'll have plenty of passes, and we'd be more than happy to issue them in a timely fashion. Okay. Is that it for mayors? Do we any more announcements?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Presentations. Hugh King. Good morning.
Thank you. I want to thank the board for changing the name of the Osborne Lamb House to the Osborne House as requested by Carol Baker. Now we have the correct name on the house. Thank you for that. And also the paper artifacts from Home Sweet Home are now safely ensconced in the Long Island room of the East Hampton Library. And we have a scanned copy of them at Home Sweet Home in case someone needs to look at them there. Okay? There were more than 609 people who attended the Hook Mill this summer. I say more than that because everyone doesn't sign the book. Also, more than 930 people attended Home Sweet Home this summer. That doesn't account for the people who didn't sign the book or who walk around and look at the gardens. People came from Spain, Puerto Rico, England, Australia, South Africa, Cuba, Mexico, Bulgaria, France, New Zealand, Germany, Canada, and Italy to this village to go to Home Sweet Home and to the windmills. And don't discount the fact that Long Island has 11 intact windmills from the early 19th century. The village of East Hampton has 3 of them, and you can visit them. There's no other place in the country that has that. So let's not take those for granted. It's a real gift to the people, not only of East Hampton, but from people all over the world who come here to see Home Sweet Home and Village Windmills. All right, now the auditors are here. Okay, auditor, here's one for you. It's right before the recession, that began depression that began in America. Home Sweet Home was born in 1927, and around 1928-29, there was a movement to sell the contents of Home Sweet Home that have nothing to do with John Howard Payne to pay for buying Home Sweet Home. These were assessed at $40,000. So at the beginning of the Depression, auditors, if we don't get the $40,000 back, what happens? Well, nothing happened because it never happened. Okay? And then the last one, this is a very ominous threat to the auditors. There was a movement in 1930 to disband the village, to disincorporate. If that happened, in 2024, you'd have no billable hours. That's all I got.
Thank you, Hugh. The high school students did just arrive, so what I'd like to do, Marcos, I would like to just go a little bit out of order.
Sure.
And maybe Jenna from Surfrider, do you want to give your quick presentation, or did you want to say anything, or are you just here for support, background? Okay, great. Okay. Morning, Jenna.
Good morning. I'll save my comments for later, but for those who weren't here at the last meeting, the Surfrider Foundation Eastern Long Island chapter gave a presentation on a policy that actually the village came to us about possibly adopting. It's called Skip the Stuff, and basically it asks that restaurants do not give out accessories in their takeout orders like utensils, napkins, stirrers, condiments, things like that, without first asking the customer. So it's still available, but becomes only by request only. And we worked together on coming up with actually taking that a step further and making sure that the materials used are sustainable. So we had several people talking in support of that last month, and now we have some students from East Hampton High School, their environmental club. I think a few of them would like to speak, maybe not all, but they are in support as well. So that's the short story. I'll share my comments later.
Great, thanks, Jenna. Aubrey, do you want to come up and introduce your class?
Oh, sure. Hi. My name is Aubrey Peterson. I'm the advisor for the Environmental Awareness Club at the high school. And this is a small representation of our club coming here to help speak about Skip the Stuff.
Thank you. So please, any of you want to come up and speak? Please. My dad taught environmental awareness at East
He
Hampton.
started the club with me, actually. Almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
My name is Maya Tavares, and today I will start with a haiku. Beautiful beaches will be gone to pollution. Solution is us. I have chosen to begin with a haiku in order to set the stage for the cause I will be advocating for today. I am in 10th grade, and I am an active member of the Environmental Awareness Club at East Hampton High School. I would like to start off by thanking you for your attention and willingness to listen to us young adults. You may see us as children now, but we are also the future generation that will be living with the consequences of the ongoing pollution crisis. Here today I have a poster board filled with a collage of pictures of our beautiful town and some dramatic results of pollution if our community continues to use plastic utensils. The switch to reusable foodware is just one step we can take to prevent the more production of plastics. This seemingly small change to the public and influential change to the owners of these restaurants will make a big difference in the environment's well-being. To utilize the words that convinced me to support this cause, I cut up pieces of bolded text from the flyer given to us students, explaining the crisis and the importance of the situation. Right here, and here, and here. And some of the quotes I used were, roughly 2/3 of all plastic ever produced remains in the environment today, and approximately 20,000 tons of New York City residential waste stream comes from plastics. And some quotes or thoughts I wanted to put is, a little goes a long way, and to think of the future, and to please help us make a difference. All the text on this poster is directly from the Surfrider Surfrider Foundation's flyer titled, "We Can't Recycle Our Way Out of a Plastic Pollution Crisis." I believe that the future generation should be able to live without worry, and if we can help lessen the stress, then we should try. Not just for us, not just for them, but for our Earth that always finds a way to perfectly provide for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanted to show it.
Just for the record, Lisa Perella is now in the meeting.
Where's the camera?
Right on top of the TV.
Maybe you can, if you want, to show the public, because this is on TV. Finagle your way around. You can kind of see it. You keep on going to the left. There you go.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Right there, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
I'll just hold my hands. Good morning, good afternoon, board, and all attendees present today. My name is Griffin Beckman, and I'm currently a sophomore at East Hampton High School. At the high school, I'm an involved and active member of the Environmental Awareness Club. I'm here today to show my support for the Surfrider organization and their Skip the Stuff initiative, which aims to eliminate non-biodegradable utensils. I'm sure it will be a challenge for the town to fully integrate this policy at first, but hopefully a kind of normalcy can be reached. This normalcy is almost a necessity in order to help our environment and community in turn. As a child in today's world, we are increasingly aware that environmental problems present in our society will further impact the earth throughout our lives. Therefore, by taking action and supporting organizations such as Surfrider, it may help to build a better and cleaner future for my generation and those to come. Thank you for your time, and once again, please consider Surfrider's Skip the Stuff initiative.
Griffin.
Yeah, there you go. Alright. Yeah.
There's two speaking, the rest of it, we have letters and that kind of thing.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Is there anybody else that wants to speak on Skip the Stuff or the discussion we had last month about plastics and single-use plastics? Yes, please.
I also have some utensils.
I love it. I got one of these a couple years ago.
Everyone should have one of these in their car when they go to pick up something to go. They already have these.
Thank you.
And I will leave two extras. So my name is Courtney Garneau. Can you hear me? I'm a volunteer for the Surfrider Foundation of the Eastern Long Island chapter. As a volunteer, I've had the opportunity to advocate for legislative initiatives against plastic pollution at the federal level, lobbying our representatives in Congress, at the Suffolk County Legislature, and most recently we met with Fred Thiel, our New York State Assemblyman. Through this process, over the years, it has become apparent that these initiatives need to begin at the local grassroots level. In order to move up the legislative ladder to our county, state, and federal governments, East Hampton Village has been a supportive partner for several of Surfrider's programs. We have two amazing bioswales, ocean-friendly gardens, that help pull pollutants and plastics out of the overflow of rainwater after a storm event on its way to Main Beach. We are fortunate to be able to test the local waterways and beaches through our Blue Water Task Force to ensure that our community is aware of harmful levels of bacteria when it's unsafe to swim and recreate at the beach. We have access to host numerous beach cleanups, compile that data, and educate our community on those sources of plastic pollution. In partnership with the Village of East Hampton, Skip the Stuff would set a precedent now and curb the need for single-use plastics. It takes a village. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
That's great.
Good morning, East Hampton board members and community members. My name is Stephanie Unter, and I'm a Southampton Town resident. I work for the Surfrider Foundation as the Eastern Long Island Chapter Secretary. But today, I'm speaking to you as a resident of this unique community, a part-time surfer, although not now, and a mom of 2 grown children. I stand before you because I strongly support the adoption of Skip the Stuff initiative and policy to prevent plastic waste. I started my journey at the Surfrider Foundation when I attended their annual main fundraiser, Surf Movie Night, a few years ago. I thought it'd be a great chance to meet fellow surfers and maybe swap my board for a nicer one. Well, it didn't happen, but what did happen was I became involved with a much bigger cause. One that could potentially shape and change the bad habits we have so relied on in the past and make the East End a better place to live and play. Cleaning up our beaches has always been a regular pastime for me before I even knew about real beach cleanups. It was and is on my daily beach walks that I personally pick up plastic pollution. I see evidence of this crisis all around the community and in my travels. And of all the materials we collect from the beaches, plastic is undoubtedly the most pervasive because of the way it affects the environment. This is a danger and will harm precious marine life. On the health front, microplastics are finding ways to invade the human body, and until we know the long-term consequences, we should step lightly and use caution. I'm a stylist in the fashion business, and I have to tell you that reselling clothing and selling your stuff is very in right now, and it's very in to be very sustainable. So that's another, wave that we're going to be going in the future. Myself and the Surfrider community see Skip the Stuff as a win-win for everybody, the restaurants, the customers, the community, and the planet. Let's steer the course and stop the need for single-use plastics. And I do understand how difficult it can be to affect change, especially when it comes to human behavior. But I'm convinced the most important thing any of us can do about climate change is to use our voices to advocate for change at every level of government. We owe it to ourselves, the beautiful environment we live in, to protect it. Let's start by taking steps to ensure a clean and healthy environment for the future, our children, and their children. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephanie. Anyone else?
Okay.
Jenna, you wanna wrap this up?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sorry, I forgot to introduce myself before. My name is Jenna Schwarzman. I work for the Surfrider Foundation as the Eastern Long Island Chapter Manager. Thank you for having us back. So during the last meeting, we shared a lot of facts about the plastic pollution crisis. So today I want to talk about 2 other concerns. One is the customer perspective, and the second is bioplastic. So let's start with the customer. I understand that for restaurants and small businesses, the customer comes first. So why aren't we asking if customers want these plastic items? We, the consumers, become burdened with these unnecessary materials. We all have the typical junk drawer probably at home, and whether or not we asked for it, the customers are the ones dealing with the excess waste. Maybe they'll use it, maybe they'll store it, but ultimately it ends up in the trash. The burden doesn't stop there because we pay taxes for our waste to be shipped to the incinerators, creating toxic ash in our air. Single-use packaging may seem like a convenience at first, but in the long run, we're paying for it with our health, our littered beaches, and our tax dollars. I think changing to a more sustainable business model is actually beneficial for branding. A global report by Ipsos in 2022 showed that 75% of people want a ban on single-use plastic. Consumers don't want this extra waste. And yet, for decades, the onus of reducing and recycling has been on us. We need the producers of this waste to be held responsible. Second, I want to caution against using bioplastics as an alternative, and I know I've already spoken to a few of you about this already, and will continue to speak about it. But for those who have not heard, bioplastic is the term Surfrider uses for compostable materials made of corn, agave, or other natural-sounding ingredients. While the production might be a bit better than your typical petroleum-based plastic,
The end product is not as good as it seems. The truth is, if it looks and feels like plastic, it will act like plastic in the environment. Not only are these materials costly, they are misleading. They need a commercial composting facility to break down in higher temperatures than possible in a landfill or home compost. And most of us don't even have access to those facilities. People meanwhile buying these products, but unfortunately it's just greenwashing. What Surfrider really wants is reusables. Metal and glass reusables are both better for our health and the environment, but also the restaurant because they are an investment that pay for themselves over time. If we have to go with the disposables, we want naturally occurring materials like bamboo, wood, or paper that don't have to be so processed. And we definitely don't want single-use plastic or material that acts like plastic. In summary, we know the plastic pollution crisis is dire. Some plastic you can't reduce because it's needed for things like medical equipment. Some are harder to reduce. For example, it takes some effort to avoid in the grocery store. And then there are some plastics that are just plain easy to avoid. In my opinion, this is easy. And the first step of our proposed Skip the Stuff policy requires no change of materials, no extra costs, just a change in habit. All we have to do is ask the customers, and we'll reduce so much unnecessary waste. And we owe it to our beautiful coastal community we call home.
Thank you, Jenna.
Questions while we're up there, or is that?
Board have any questions for Jenna?
Well, the hearing is just about the first phase, whether or not we ask if people want the stuff, right? We're not voting on anything that's...
No, not at all. We're not voting on anything.
No,
we're still working through it.
I think we were planning on I was going to propose to keep the hearing open. We are missing 2 of our members here, and also give the community an additional 30 days to weigh in and contact us, and we're trying to contact them at the same time to make sure that this is a very transparent and seamless discussion and plan that we want to roll out. So no.
But the plan would ultimately just be voting on the first phase.
That's a good question. I mean, we can discuss that. I mean, I know that there were multiple phases of this plan. I don't know if we do one at a time, Marcos, or
we don't have, Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have an official draft. We're still drafting it. We're planning on putting it for the February meeting. So this is really more like public comment in support of the legislation.
Because
right, Lisa?
Yes, that's correct. Can everybody hear me? Yes, that's correct. So this is public comment, just to gauge the interest and to work out the nuances of what the board may want to consider. There's nothing formally on the table to vote on.
Has Surfrider been engaging with the businesses? Because this obviously affects our smaller food providers, not necessarily the restaurants, but like the Chinese and Red Horse Market. Have you been working with them to make sure, because this hearing happened last month, right in the throes of the holiday season. So I'm not sure they even are aware of that we're deciding something that will result in affecting their bottom line. So have you been working with them to make sure they are aware of it?
Not yet, but if you give us another month, that gives us time. Our volunteers can probably head out there and start, engaging with them.
I think that's really important because we all love our mom and pop shops, and I think education is key. And what you said, I think there's a lot of information that's not correct about
confusing,
the plastics that we think are good. And I do think, some of these business owners think they're doing the right thing. Right. So I think the education component and communication is really important.
Yeah. I think we can take that good intention and turn it into, the right choice. Don't rush it, because what I was worried about is, our chapter worked on passing the straw ban in Suffolk County. We wanted to ban plastic straws, and we did. And now so many businesses are using those bio-based products when what we really wanted was reusables or paper. So I would like to avoid the same thing happening here.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that we have not received any negative comments or feedback from anybody. Have we, Marcus? We haven't really received much at all, to be honest with you.
Not at all.
So that's good.
Support. But we do want to give, again, like Chris mentioned, the goal would be 30 days. I'd like to give the mayor at least, I mean, he's getting back from vacation. He takes no vacations ever. So I'd like for him to at least take a look at it, be a part of it. Any discussions in February, then maybe post it in March if it's possible. And still, we still have the ability to implement it for the summer. I mean, we still have time to do it then too.
Great.
If the board decides.
Yeah, I'm very much in favor of this personally, but I think we need to make sure that the entire village is well aware of some of these changes so that they can have their input.
Especially the smaller businesses.
Yeah, we're a small village. I mean, it won't take long.
I know. Yeah.
Especially have, really thorough conversations with them too, making sure they understand.
Maybe there's some way.
Take a few.
Yeah.
Different work.
And maybe there is some way, I mean, I know it does affect their bottom line because I think Tom Cooper was in here last month and said, $4,000 to $7,000 he spends trying to do, the right thing, which is a big number for, Chinese our little takeouts that, we hear. We want these small businesses in our community, and if we add another layer of, pricing to them, why would they remain in East Hampton Village? So we don't want that to happen. I mean, of course we want, I admire everybody who's spoken, and I agree, like I'd love to, to reduce all the plastic, but we also just have to have everybody consideration of all our business owners in this village.
We could do both.
Great.
Great.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you.
Can I say something, Chris? Sure.
Hi, just someone that's been in the food business out here.
Present yourself.
Oh, sorry. My name is Steve Lilia. I'm no longer a resident in the village, but I've been around the village for 40 years. As somebody that's been in the food handling business out here for those 40 years, a lot of businesses, to defray costs, will have bulk products on hand. So they need the time. Before you implement something, they need either to reduce their inventory or hopefully somebody to take back their inventory before they have to lay in new stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think part of the plan was to give a year and more to the small businesses to be able to deplete their inventory and to make plans.
That should be ample time. Thank you.
Welcome, Steve. Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
That's all I got. It's tough following you.
From what I've been speaking to as many people as I can, I personally think Skip the Stuff is very well received. I think that the phase 2 and phase 3 of the plastic ban is the harder lift, but that's just what I've been hearing. So we're going to keep this open, and we'll continue to go down that road. And Jenna, thank you. And Aubrey, thank you for bringing your class down here. We really appreciate it. You're welcome anytime. And we're going to move this meeting right along. Who's next? The auditors.
Mr. Sleep.
The auditors. Yeah, you can leave. Aubrey, please feel free to file out. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, that was great. Next.
Shorter than
all right. Sorry.
As everyone knows, I was a member of the audit team this year for the village's annual audit. Many of you may not know that when we do an audit, it entails a lot of procedures. We kind of let you dominate a little from time to time, a lot of the time, okay. But we're looking at the policies and procedures as they pertain to the revenue streams and expenditure streams to make sure that whatever policies are in place, not only being adhered to, but are effective. And I'm happy to say that none of our procedures or testing that we did caused us to have any issues with the financials or feel that they're being materially misstated. So I have to say, to commend me, it's been going like this for quite a number of years. And it's nice when we come in, because we are disruptive. We ask some pointed questions. We'll ask about fraud, and people get very nervous when we start discussing this. And everybody's been very helpful. They're very honest with us. And it just shows that everybody's very proud of what they do, especially. We're always greeted with smiles, and that doesn't always happen. As you said, when you hear the auditors, we're not exactly always the most favorite person in the room at the time. So I'm very happy to say that you received an unmodified or a clean opinion this year. I would just like to discuss a few of the highlights that are inside your financial statements. Your total revenues of almost $30.1 million exceeded budgeted amounts by almost $3 million. The areas that gave rise to this was actually building permits, was almost 50% of that, $1.5 million above budgeted items. The next item that was most notable in income was interest, use of money. Utilizing the class system that's put out by New York State, you had to put your idle cash to work, and you received almost $600,000 of investment income. It also helped that rates are kind of high this year, so that did help the significant increase. Who knows what the rates will be this time next year, but based on what you've done so far, it's been very good for your bottom line to assist you with other finances. The last item that was most notable was federal, state, and county aid, mostly sales tax and mortgage recording taxes. That was above budget amounts by almost $400,000. From an expenditure side, your expenditures were roughly $27.7 million, which was under budget by $20,000. I think that shows that, yes, the policies that you guys, especially when you're doing your budget, State Controller's Office does like to, and they do their own independent audit, and they do like the budgetary process to make sure that you're doing it to ensure that, your budget does meet what your expenditures are. And a $20,000 swing, if most people could do that, it would be great. So that's a very tight budget, and it's good to see that you take the budget process very seriously. From a capital project standpoint, you expended this year almost $8.5 million. With those dollars, you put in roughly $4.1 million in fire equipment, fire trucks, various pump trucks. You purchased roughly $800,000 worth of new highway trucks. I think it was Salters were included in that. You were replacing a lot of old equipment that you had, and it's been part of that initiative that you've been doing for the last couple of years. The Dominique project, you also put in another $800,000. Now, to fund that, you guys utilized cash flow that you had from the current year, but you also issued a new bond this year, or last year, if you want to call it that, for roughly $6.8 million, which was used to fund most of the fire equipment. I will say, because of your Moody's AAA rating, you got very favorable rates. There's new bonds between 3% and 4%. So that's definitely going to help. And you're planning to pay this off over the next 10 years with current cash flow. Shouldn't be an issue. From a balance sheet or from a fund balance standpoint, you ended the year with about $22 million in assets, of which half of those assets, almost $10 million, are used for restricted purposes, LOSAP, which is the pension fund for the fire department. Another couple of $100,000 is board designated for future use in future years, and the remaining balances you can use for your own benefit over the next couple of years, help fund some of the other projects. I will say that you guys do a good job. From an audit perspective, we audit a lot of villages, and clean. The books are always very well kept. You get us everything as we need it. You don't let us wait for months on end, which does happen. So you made our life a little easier as the auditors, so I also want to thank you, but I also want to say very good job on all. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. How long have you been the auditor for the village?
Our firm before John, probably 5 years.
Well,
I think we have to give a special thank you to Dominique and Marcos for that.
Yes.
He always has a smile when we come in, which I always wonder.
We love doing the budget.
it's dark.
It's just sad.
Thank you, Frank.
All right, I'll walk out.
May I leave with the auditor?
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
My name is you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. All right. Well, Marcos, good job. I know the finances are always on the top of our mind, especially since this you've taken office, and you've done a great job.
Thanks, Chris.
And,
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And all of the department heads are really doing a wonderful job with their finances. So Tom and Dave and Drew and Kenny and Jerry and Jeff, you guys, keep it up. Thank you.
Just spends money.
It's really nice to have money.
Support.
It's better than the opposite. We could have no money. So no, it's important. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Marcus, we have this 10-year franchise?
10-year franchise agreement.
All right, so are we reading that? Is there something to read, Lorraine? What are we, is it public hearing?
If anybody's here to speak about the 10-year franchise agreement with Altice.
So we have a 10-year franchise renewal agreement with East Hampton Village and Altice USA. Public hearing. Anybody? Marcus, do you want to explain this so that we can...
Every 10 years we do an agreement with Altice, or Cablevision, let's say, in regards to the area and their coverage and what they can and can't do. It's really federally regulated. So
right, we need cable. Everyone needs it. Okay, so no one's here, so...
We can close the hearing.
Is that it? I'd like to close the hearing on the East Hampton Village and Altice agreement, 10-year agreement.
So moved. Second.
Right. Was it passing carrot? Is that like a whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't get much. I don't get many times to hold this. So, all right, moving along. Public comment. So right here, Jenny is here. Hi, Jenny. Good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. It's a very entertaining meeting so far. Deputy Mayor, thank you.
You're welcome.
So my name is Jenny Lilia. I am the GM and executive chef of my beloved Hedges Inn on James Lane. I think you can guess why I'm here. I'm here begging for help and cooperation. Not that I haven't gotten that. I've had a lot of conversations with Mayor Larson behind the scenes to try and come up with some kind of solutions for the problem there. But I'm here publicly on the record. This is the only thing I'm working on, and I really need everyone's help. So I have some video to sort of show you exactly how dire the situation is. This past Sunday, another car came into the Hedges Inn about 1 a.m, so Monday morning, I suppose, and took out the front porch. I have been there for nearly 10 years, and this is my 8th go-around. So, the one before this, which was in November, was by far the worst ever. And that, it's kind of gotten this if it's a funny thing, it's checkout time, and there's no room at the inn, and people are making jokes about it, like people bump the fence, and it's really, weeble wobble, roly poly, whatever the Star called us the other day, but it's not funny anymore. So we're here to really ask for some help. Let's look at the video so we can really understand. So this is the one that just happened this past Sunday. 4 teens coming in from Islip. That's them hopping the fence. They ended up on the south side of the porch. We had a little structural damage in terms of the foundation, but the porch itself is gone. We are closed for the season, which luckily that has been the case during these major ones. But the safety of our guests and the people who work there, guests bar none, is obviously the most important thing to me. So Jody, if you could put the other video up from November of last year. So this one was by far the worst I've seen. This gentleman fell asleep very early in the morning, 4:30. Nothing nefarious going on. He just fell asleep. So he did not hit the ground again until he hit my lower patio. The deck on that side of the building ended up on the roof. Walls of the awning got knocked out. The foundation was affected. It was You know, it's really coming 80, 90 miles an hour down that road and then smashing into me is, you know, it's scary and it's serious. We've talked about a lot of different options. So, and we've negated a lot of options. So at first we were like, oh, let's build a brick wall that says, welcome to East Hampton. And then Mayor Larson was like, no, someone will die and we can't do that. And, you know, another thing to keep in mind too is the maintenance of the thing, right? So it's got to be something that's maintainable. So we talked about that. We've talked about bollards, whether they're on, you know, my side of the fence or your side of the fence. But again, that could be very dangerous. We've talked about a bioswale, kind of mimicking on the other side of the village green over there, that I think would help to, you know, there's a good amount of distance between the village green there and me. So I think, you know, that might work. I even asked if we could extend the pond. You know, who knows? But so there's options out there. Mayor Larson has suggested a net that could be anchored, so sort of like a catch kind of situation. So basically, the end of it all is that I understand this needs to go to public comment. It needs to go. I don't know if the state needs to get involved. You guys need to be involved. Whoever, for planning or whatever, a traffic survey, whatever. We're here to do all that, committed to doing all that. I would really appreciate some help in the meantime, because that's a lengthy process. And, you know, it's going to happen again, right? So there are barrels you can put in that little green while we figure out a more permanent solution that are filled with sand and water, and we can cover them in hydrangea and shrubbery and all that stuff, and it'll be beautiful and lovely in the meantime. But, you know, this has been happening since, I mean, we have a photograph from the 1940s. So it's been happening for ages and ages and ages. And since current owners took over, you know, I have 20 years worth of data and stuff that I'm happy to share. But anyway, hopefully Dave Collins can get involved and help us out figuring out some solutions, and we can all sort of work together when Mayor Larson gets back and find out what we can do.
How many do you have an idea of how many times this happened, or does anyone have any idea of? Because you said 8.
8 for me. Yeah, 8 since I've been there. So I think in the last 20 years, it's got to be close to 20. You know, and varying degrees, of course, but it's not a one-off. It's not something that's going away. You know, and it's it happens in the middle of the night most often, but this one was earlier, 1 a.m. I certainly had guests on my porch at that hour. You know, James Lane is a very sort of pedestrian cut through. There's always people walking their dogs and their babies and stuff, and it's just you know, we've gotten lucky so far, you know, and we gotta figure it out. So thank you for listening. Can I answer any questions?
Which part of it makes the car fly? Is it are they hitting the?
So this last one, he hit the bulkhead. They miss all the signs. I don't know how. And then the sidewalk there has a little bit of a lip on the outside of the fence. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a ramp, I guess. But every time they, you know, they just catapult over that bottom rail of fence that's always intact still. So they pop up over that, and then they're just airborne, and it's really wild. I hope the videos convey that. Jody,
we're lucky no one got killed. I mean,
seriously lucky. You know, seriously lucky.
We're pressing our luck.
Yeah.
So hopefully Dave has some solutions too.
Yeah. And that's village-owned property, I understand, right?
Dave,
Dave, do you have
Dave,
solutions?
Dave, can you tell us what's on your mind, Dave?
Okay, careful. Should I excuse myself?
Hi, Jen.
Hi, honey.
Jeff, you're next.
Thank you, Jen. And you know, we're not only talking about vehicles hitting hedges. You think about how many cars over our lifetime we've seen wind up in the pond. So this intersection is a tricky intersection. for anybody that's not paying attention, distracted driving, impaired, asleep. They hit that intersection and they wind up where they don't belong. So this is a long-standing problem. We recognize it, and the tricky part is with liability is if we put any immovable object that somebody will strike to stop their car, that makes us, in a way, negligent, because we can create a hazard. So we have to look, and we have to partner with the state, because this is a state road that we're talking about, and state right-of-way. So we're going to have to partner with them and find a solution, and it may be attenuator barrels, like Jen mentioned, the barrels with sand in the water that we see on the parkways in front of the underpasses. Federal requirements for guardrails now have changed greatly because cars are getting impaled by the lengths of guardrail. So, we have to be careful about what we put there, and we also have to be aware of how it's going to look. I hate to say, we're going to put the beauty of our village before the safety of our residents, but that's always something that we consider, along these lines. And I think a traffic survey, partnering with the state engineers and see what we can do with this intersection before somebody does get hurt. James Lane is highly traveled, basically as a bypass to get up to Ocean Avenue, and we've been lucky that this is happening in the wee hours of the morning and not, in the height of the day. So, it's just a matter of time, that something more serious happens here. And it's funny, if you look at both these incidents, the green has not been touched. It's like when they leave the pavement, they're not touching the pavement until they hit James Lane. It's like there's a very small, the road shoulder is almost flush there, and they're just coming across, and there's no tire tracks in the grass. And then they hit James Lane, and it could be the crown of James Lane, and then they just launch into the hedges. It's amazing. They don't hit the sign and they don't touch the grass, but as soon as they hit James Lane, they're airborne. So we have to look at what's causing that also.
Those strips that shake your car.
Right, the rumble strips.
Right. Do we have them there?
Yes, the state installed rumble strips there probably, I'm going to say, 10 to 15 years ago.
We asked for stronger ones, or more of them, so that I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ideas out there. I guess we're going to talk about this for a while, but can we do something like that, or is that something that we have to have the state okay it?
The state, that would be state. This is all state roadways.
We can't do anything until the state gives us the green light. We have to do it.
We're going to have the blessing from the state agency.
Do they make stronger rumble strips? Maybe deeper ones, or ones that wake you up?
Yeah. Well, we could always extend the length of it too. So right now they start just beyond. They start right about in front of Chabad, and we could extend them back towards the intersection of Georgia. That may be, and see if the state, I'm sure the state has a specification as to the depth of them that they can be without creating a hazard.
Right.
Well, hopefully we can explore all options and get going as quickly as possible on this, and especially with everything the village can do in the meantime.
So can we put this on the agenda for next month?
Sure.
And then everyone can collect some ideas, and Jerry and Sandra will be back, and you're going to come back with some great ideas.
I'll reach out to Chris Williams. He's the resident engineer for Region 10.
Great.
And we'll see if he can meet with us on site.
Okay, thank you. And good job with the snow, Dave. Thank you for that.
Thanks. We've been lucky.
Excuse me, are you here to talk? We just want to make sure.
Yes.
Hi. Is it about, it's public comment, is it about this?
No.
Let's just get rid of the hedges.
I have something.
You do. And then Jeff, do you have any, can you add your 2 cents maybe after Mr. Graham?
Hi, everybody. Tiger Graham, Cooper Lane. This issue with the hedges has been going on so long. My wife, who grew up with her grandmother in the house next door when she was 14, I'm not going to tell you how old she is now, but think 50 plus years. They would be lying on her grandmother's bed upstairs and they'd hear the squeal of brakes. And Aggie Day would take her little iPhone, flip it up, and they'd listen for the crash. If they didn't hear a crash, they wouldn't go outside. But you remember, the road used to go straight through to James Lane.
Yes.
And they grasped that in. But as Dave says, that doesn't get touched. And I think that obviously being a state highway, this is a state issue. But in the newspaper I read, the mayor had made a comment about perhaps a arresting net hidden by bushes and shrubbery. And perhaps if, Jen and, the Cumming family wanted to put something like that just on the inside of that hedge, even if some idiot does their thing, you might keep them off the porch and out of the building. So, again, I think everybody in the village is 100% in support of doing something about this because it's been going on way too long. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tiger. Jeff.
I mean, I just add to everybody's comments on that. Yeah, I mean, I've been here a long time, and it has been going on, as everybody said, for years. Just in the last couple of years, it seems like I remember coming on and they just took the fence out. But the last couple of years, they've been going farther, and now we're into the building. Luckily, it's only happened on the midnight shift, and I've said that my analogy for that is that the runway's open. There's not traffic on the road, so by the grace of God that during the day when the hedge, the less likely. Not that nothing can't happen there. In these cases, most of them are people that aren't local and out of town. And the last two have no level of intoxication or drug use. So they're, the last one was a high rate of speed. They were running from law enforcement. The one before that was a Uber driver or some sort of a Lyft that fell asleep on the midnight shift and projected themselves into the hedges in. So, the combination of not knowing where you're going, high speed, is a bad combination. I have been in contact, the mayor and I have talked about this briefly, and he is all in to come up with an amicable solution that, does not injure the individuals in the vehicle. In this case, we had one 18-year-old driver and 3 17-year-old passengers. So God forbid if we had some sort of a structure that was, permanent, we could have a tragedy. Not that that wasn't a tragedy. The driver was the only one that was really injured, had some internal injuries, and he's out of the hospital, but it could have been worse for him. But there is some sort of a solution. People better suited than myself, the state, as Dave has talked about, to come up with a solution. And we're probably not the only community that has issues such as this. I've made a suggestion about the barrels. I see them just from driving, just being a civilian driving on the road. Something that will take the impact, not injure the individuals in the vehicle, and not get onto the property of the hedges. And even if we can slow them down, well, maybe it's just back to the days of just taking the fence out, but something that will stop them, because it is getting, it's getting ridiculous, and somebody could get really injured here. Either guests. It's also, we've been lucky that it's been in the off season today. The hedges was closed, but I think it would be behoove the board and all of us to put our heads together to come up with some sort of a long-term solution to solve this problem that, as a lot of us know, has been going on. It's been going on for years.
Could you put speed bumps there? I know we love speed bumps.
Speed bumps. Well, I mean, that would be up to the state. That portion of the road, anything we have to do on any portion of a state road needs DOT approval. Whether that type of a solution would be amicable to the state. I don't know if they're going to put it on a major highway. They did put the rumble strips, moving them back closer to Georgica Road or to the Jewish Center, better lighting. I don't know if that would have, in this case, would have made a difference.
Every case is high speed, right?
Every case, the ones that, the speed adds to the projecting the vehicle into the building. Those that realize what's going on and lock it up, are taking the fence out. But the last two have been high rates of speed, not knowing that you're coming to a T intersection, not knowing the area, and hitting that at speed, which launches them into the building. So it definitely is an issue that we all should wrap our heads around and try to come up with some sort of a long-term solution before somebody in a vehicle, because it's a fine line. I understand the mayor's concerns. I think we're all there that we don't want to cause serious physical injury to a driver, even if they are intoxicated. That's no reason for them to have serious physical injury or death on both sides, those that are guests at the inn or in the vehicle. So, but there's got to be some sort of a solution that we come up with for that area. We do have that area there between James Lane and Woods Lane and Montauk Highway that we could probably hopefully make better use of and make it aesthetically pleasing. We can screen it and try to fix this problem.
All right. Thank you.
Can I say one thing again?
Sure.
So I appreciate all the support and everyone's being receptive, and I'm sure that we can, everyone putting their heads together, we can figure something out. When I hear get the state involved, I think that's going to take way, way, way long. So I wonder if maybe the village attorney could look into this, whatever kind of liability there is there, if we could put something in the meantime, because, it's just, I don't want to risk it anymore, the owners might be inclined not to open for the season. It's just so dangerous. So that's it. But I'm happy to be on the next meeting and to work with everybody in the meantime.
Okay. Thank you, Jenny. Hi, please. Yes. Just go up to the podium and state your name and what's on your mind.
Nancy Whitner. Hearing all of this that goes on, to me it sounds like possibly tubular rail out of iron, maybe 3 of them, then we could cover them, but it would not be an eyesore, be 36 inches high. Car could not go through it, and it would still look lovely, even if we put ivy around it. The second thought is that when you rent a car and you go in the wrong way, they have those spokes that come up from the ground that you really can't go any further. It stops you. It's some kind of in the ground, and it comes up. And
one-way spikes. You go one way over it. Yeah.
Right. And that would also stop them. I live in the town, and my husband's going to speak, but this is very interesting. I'm wondering, does the town have anything like this?
That's a really good question for our department heads. I don't know if the town has any.
I don't think there's any major.
No, like meetings and.
Oh, hearings?
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Every
Right.
month.
At least every month.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
town
are
board
the
meeting.
East Hampton Town Board meeting as well for all of the issues that are located inside the incorporated town of East Hampton. So yeah. You're welcome back anytime. Does your husband want to come up?
Yeah, but my husband. I happen to be an architectural designer, so I don't know if what I'm saying
Those are
works.
great ideas. Very good idea.
But I know that the thing on the floor would work, but the bars, these round things would, like when I do a rail, it has to be so a kid doesn't get its head stuck in it. And we could do the same thing, just low, and then ivy or bushes. The net doesn't even sound feasible to me. It sounds rickety. This is stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joel Whitner. I live in the town of East Hampton, and I'm 86. Tomorrow's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
So I thank you for listening to my comments. It's about handicap parking. As a dedicated resident of East Hampton for the past 34 years and a frequent visitor to Main Beach for the last 25 years, I am writing to bring to your attention a recent change in the handicap parking arrangements at Main Beach, which has posed challenges for individuals with mobility issues. Historically, Main Beach has been a welcoming and accessible destination for all residents and visitors. However, the recent relocation of handicap parking spaces, now situated too far away down a hill, has created difficulties for those who rely on these designated spots. Having personally enjoyed the amenities of Main Beach for many years without encountering any issue, this recent change has become a source of concern for me and others who may face challenges navigating the increased distance and incline to access the beach. I recall many years ago when I landed in Japan, coming back from someplace, and I had problems walking. And this girl took us around in a wheelchair, and at the end of this long trip around the airport, my wife offered her $20. And she said something that will always live with me. She says, look, I can't accept any money because I'm young, and when I get old, somebody will be there to take care of me. So I will take care of you. This sentiment resonates deeply with the principles of compassion and community support. It is in this spirit that I bring forth my request for a reevaluation of the current handicap parking situation at Main Beach. It is my sincere hope that the precious previous accessibility standards can be reinstated, ensuring that individuals with mobility challenges can continue to enjoy the beach without unnecessary obstacles. Additionally, I would appreciate any information on this decision-making process behind the recent changes and any potential plans for addressing accessibility concerns moving forward. Transparency and community engagement in this matter are crucial to fostering a positive relationship between the village and its residents. I believe that with your attention and consideration, we can find a solution that preserves the accessibility and inclusivity of Main Beach for everyone in our community. I want to thank you all for listening to my comments, and I hope, let me know. And one other comment which I just saw, somebody sent me an email rather. I'd like to make a comment about that. I am in the 1% of, that's around today, 99% of my age group has passed on. So we have problems. I have a lot of medical problems, and I hope you could address those for me and for people that will be coming later on in life. Thank you very much.
Okay. Drew, our chief lifeguard is here, and beach department head.
Good morning, board. Thank you for having me. Not regarding the handicap spaces directly, I do want to make note that the village increased its beach wheelchairs at Main Beach. We have gone from 1 to 3. So when you do come into the lot, if the adjusted head of the beach handicap spots are full,
I'm talking about the outside.
We have the kid down at the bottom.
Right.
Just pull up and let them know to radio us. We will happily come down and give you a hand getting up that hill there. We've done a lot.
My wife drops me off at the top of the hill because I can't walk up the hill anymore.
How life changes.
We're happy to come assist you. Just let us know, and we have extra personnel.
We've actually seen those wheelchair, I don't know what you want to call them, people coming up, and I never realized why. I thought they broke legs, they can't walk, whatever. Because when we do park, or we go on the beach, we just go right near the gate, the fence, because he really can't walk on the beach anymore.
Yeah, so we do have staff, and we'll come get you. We do it back there. We
appreciate that.
We've made some strides. Deputy Mayor Minardi and myself have talked and brought more ADA accessible stuff to the beach, and that's one asset that we're
It's the
very
parking situation that really is my concern.
Well, he said he'd take it.
Because when you had something there, and then you moved it and made it more difficult.
So the movement of the parking was not my department, but I believe the issue was it was on a hill. So what we did was the one up in lot 1 now has a van access, so there's more space available. So again, we're happy to work together with anybody from the public who may have issues getting up that hill, because I know that's been brought to my attention before. But if you let us know, we're more than happy to come down and give you a hand getting up there so you can enjoy the beach. Thank you.
I'd also like to add that more than a couple times a year, I sit down with our department head, Mr. Drew Smith, and I continuously say we need more ADA every year. If you've noticed the beach mats, there's a lot more of them every year. We're adding ADA, the blue mats. There's 6 of them now, and there was 2 of them 2 years ago. We have actually increased the size and the amount of handicap parking spots. And the dilemma we had, though, Joel, is that you either want this spot on the top of the hill or the bottom of the hill, and there's no good area, because if you have one on the top, you risk the fact of someone rolling down the hill into traffic. And the previous spots were on an angle. No, please, you'll have plenty of time. And so it's definitely been a challenge, and trust me, I know that Tom Prieto is helps me with this a lot. He's the building inspector, and everyone on the village staff, including all the board members here, we take the handicap accessibility to the beach very, very seriously.
Why did you move it? It used to be.
They couldn't be on the hill. They were on the side.
They were on the hill, so they weren't ADA compliant by being on the hill. That's just the.
More than in the front of where the seating area is over there. Put 4 together.
We added 1.
You only have 2 there.
We had 1 before.
I'm sorry?
We had 1 before, so we added another 1, and then we added more in lot 1.
I always thought you had 4.
We'll continue to see what we can do, obviously.
Originally, you had 4, 2 on the top, 2 on the right side, towards the cafeteria, let's say, and then you had 2 on the left side by the fence. You then removed the ones by the fence that were up the hill, and you took those and brought them down, which was beyond anything I could think of.
Well, they weren't ADA compliant.
More difficult.
The 2 on the hill that you're referring to, just those, let's say those, they weren't ADA compliant by being on a hill.
But they weren't on a hill. They
were.
No problem. Nobody ever rolled down the hill.
I agree with you, but they weren't compliant.
They weren't compliant.
That's the problem, is that they weren't.
Then make the 4 adjacent to each other at the top of the hill instead of at the fence.
I'm hearing what everyone's saying. I feel like this is a conversation that should include Tom, possibly. Is he here?
Yes, he's behind the podium.
Tom. Is there?
Please, Tom.
Yeah.
I feel like there's confusion. Or Dave. I don't know, somebody.
Thank you, Tom Prieto, building inspector. Thank you, members of the board. So while I wasn't directly involved in the planning of these changes, but I do sit on the Disability Advisory Board. In fact, this afternoon we do have a meeting where we do discuss these types of situations. Like Marco said, if there's too great of an incline, it can't be considered an ADA space. I can't speak to exactly these spots and how we move them, but I would be glad to be involved in any way that I'm able to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
And if you do, by the grace of God, move them, could you add a couple more spaces for the people? Because I'm sure there's a lot more than just I.
Right now, we have added, how many did we add last year? 4, 5?
4, I think. 900 people.
Yeah, it's, we don't have a lot of space up
Wise
there.
are meaningless.
Yeah, we also have a loading and unloading zone as well, and that also might be able to help you in the meantime.
No, these guys sound great.
Right, no, they are. We have the best beach staff in the world, and again, in the meantime, please take advantage of their services. You can pull up to the 15-minute parking or the loading zone and find any employee, and they'll be more than happy to help you with whatever needs you have if you can't find them.
I could walk a certain distance before I have to stop. So where we used to spend time with our kids that would come out, children, grandchildren, which were down the hill and so on, we now are left up. Look, we don't mind that. We're at the beach, we're happy. It's a great beach. We love it there, and I always love paying the money for it. So I have no problem with that. But, now I am handicapped in a way where I never thought I'd be handicapped, and thank God for the village police or whoever came to help me survive one night. So there are difficulties for my generation, and you must address those.
We'll be sure to. Thank you.
Well, we have enjoyed this. But
we have a lot of regulars. You're more than free to come back.
You can watch on LTV
Yeah.
too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What's next? I guess we're up to motions and resolutions. Anyone? David, please. Public comment.
Very interesting conversations this morning. I'm here primarily to focus on the open.
Say your name, just.
David Gans.
I know.
You know.
I'll get you one of these, maybe.
Yeah. Mr. Smiley. The open meetings law. Marcos, you may want to listen to this.
Sure. I'm going to see if they need help. Go
Okay.
ahead.
More often than not, the agenda and the packets appear on the night before or the morning of the meetings. Now, if I had an opportunity to review the Altice contract, I probably could have commented. But getting it at 7 p.m. in the evening on Friday night or Thursday night doesn't make sense. As you know, there is a law, open meetings, 72 hours prior to any meeting, all the documents and the agenda need to be posted. Jerry has stated that many times in his advertorials, talking about so-called transparency. That doesn't exist. So you could always claim, Article 78 and have none of this be anything being valid. All I'm asking is just follow the law. And it doesn't seem to be that the council's following the law. All right, just give people a chance to comment. All right, public discourse is one of the founding tenets of the country. Also, we have a website. We have a website, and Jerry 2 or 3 months ago mentioned there's a listserv on it. There is no listserv. All right, listserv is almost they generating the documents and they send them to you. That has gone the way of the old website. Okay, so for better understanding, and you have a section called RFP and bids. That's empty. Every time you do an RFP, it should be posted on there, rather than putting it in the wall in the 5,000 circulation East Hampton Star. At least you be exposing it to the public. That's all I have in terms of that issue. But it is disturbing that they spend $12,000 every time they run an insert, touting the transparency of the village government, and it's not there. The next point I want to raise is, going through the resolutions today, I noticed a proposal from LKMA on the Forest Drive, spending $12,000 to develop, and he quote, the scope and details of the project. So basically, we're paying them basically to have them give us what to do, tell them what to do, without us even knowing what the project is. All right, I think this $12,000 is a waste of money. In our last meeting, we talked about bollards, we talked about narrowing, we talked about bumps, all that stuff. And we should consider those rather before making it a one-way. Moreover, where the cars come down, they're recommending that they look at the traffic in the winter and the summer. Well, in the winter, there's hardly any cars. And also, they mentioned it's during the school year. I don't know what the family composition is on that street, but I don't think many of those people who live there send their kids to public schools at all, or even they're there during the week. So I think you need to take that all into consideration. But spending $12,000 for study that's going to be worthless is really a poor use of our funds. All right? They basically, it seems, and I went through the site, they're not experts at this. There are other companies that are much better at this. So I would suggest you reconsider donating $12,000 to a company. And you're not going to get anything out of it. All right, so that's all I have to say, and thank you for your time, I believe.
Where did we get what company is doing this proposal for $12,000? Where did we get that?
It was our bid. It was an RFP.
Really?
Yeah.
And is it just La Forest, or is it the area?
No, just La Forest.
Oh, that's Billy.
You have it now.
Thanks. Billy Hajak for the village. I was asked to solicit a proposal for studying La Forest Road based on the public discussion that occurred at the last work session. L.K. McLean Associates is a well-regarded and highly respected traffic engineer consultant. They provide all sorts of services in terms of civil engineering and architecture, but their primary, if I could call it their bread and butter, is traffic engineering. I'm not sure what your experience is with McLean Associates, but I've worked with McLean for over 23 years, and as far as I'm concerned, they're a highly regarded traffic engineer, traffic consultant. They're very familiar with state laws, state policies, traffic studies. They've conducted numerous traffic studies for the town of East Hampton. So that was my recommendation to the board, was to use McLean Associates.
Just focusing on the forest, or also Jericho and that area?
No, they are looking at La Forest to analyze the roadway and develop recommendations for the board, one of which could be making it one way. That's not their sole priority, but that's part of it. And if the recommendation is to make it one way, they're also analyzing the ramifications that could have on surrounding road systems. So that's all part of it.
Is this information, I know we're planning to do the comprehensive plan, could also be useful for that as well, for future use, this traffic study?
Yes and no. I think a comprehensive plan typically doesn't get involved in individual, roadways. Like you might look at traffic overall in the village, and you might look at key intersections where there's the proportion of traffic is heavier, like Montauk Highway or Main Street. But broader picture, broader stroke items. You wouldn't necessarily be analyzing an individual side street to this level of degree. A comprehensive, traffic study with the comprehensive plan may look at, the impact that is being caused by smaller roads being used as bypasses, and it may recommend further study. This would be that type of study that is getting into the sort of nuts and bolts of that individual roadway, though. So. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Great. Any other questions for me?
But basically, if I may add, basically this is covering July and August, because that's where the issue is. Where the issue was last time was the number of construction trucks, which is easily fixed by basically staggering the permits, rather than having 75 trucks on the street. So, I mean, there are ways to mitigate that without necessarily spending all this money doing a study. And how do we know what the impact will be on Jericho and their residents? So it's kind of like...
We're not only voting on it, the language is wrong. It's not just if it's going to be a one-way about that public hearing. It's for solutions for La
But
Forest.
$12,000 for that solution of these options, I don't think it's worth it.
Well, you know what, David? Part of what you're saying does resonate with me a little bit. I will say, though, however, we had every single resident on La Forest Lane sign or contact us with their concerns. And as a village, I think that we have a right and a responsibility to hear what they have to say. Now, we might not do anything to that. And maybe we do something. However, if everyone on the street wants to do something, I think it's in the village's best nature to have an independent study to see exactly what they want is valid, and if there is something we can do about it. Because putting in something prematurely, whether it be traffic, making it one way, speed bumps, police, signs, radar, who knows what, doesn't fix the problem immediately, and it also is another waste of resources as well. So, speed bumps cost a lot more money than $12,000, and also the manpower of our department installing them and maintaining them. So, I really don't like spending the $12,000 on this either. However, I think it's an honest way to make sure that everyone on that street is happy, and for us to make the proper decision once we hear what this report has to say. Because everyone on the street, if everyone on your street signed a petition, we would listen to them, and we would spend $12,000 to
make us live on the same street.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
But also,
but also, if I can just add, the issues that I heard in that meeting were issues that you raised, Gary, in terms of all the construction going on.
Right.
And the other two people raised the issue of a gentleman couldn't implement a lemonade stand. All right, and the third one was just all these trucks in the construction site. There was never any issue about cars speeding in that area. Never. That issue was. I read the minutes. All it was those three things. If you basically stagger the construction site in terms of permits, you'll figure it as well as have a limited number of trucks. All right. As soon as you make that road a one lane, a one way, cars are going to speed. It's been proven by the National Highway Safety. As soon as a wide street becomes one way, people are going to go faster. That's guaranteed.
well, staggering the building permits, we'll have a lot more people at this meeting protesting again.
I understand that. I'm well aware, but looking at all the options.
Yeah, well, we are
spending $12,000. That's all I ask.
We have this traffic study, and I think speeding was mentioned, at least it was mentioned at one of the meetings. And additionally, to have a complete traffic study, you can't just look at the summer, because of course in the summer, everything increases. That said, my windows face La Forest Lane. I've been appreciative that there's been increased police presence. My husband and I both noticed at 5 p.m. rush hour, there have been, cars there, checking on cars. But it is also it's not just that street where the construction, it's the cut through to the beach, it's the cut through to all that whole area. So it is a lively street, but it's important for us not to conjecture about that, to have a proper study to give us the data.
Well, that's well and good, but basically, I still contend that the money can be spent at a place out by doing a much broader study, okay? And that would have to be done July and August, because that's where the traffic is. You're not going to do, like they mentioned, doing a winter study. How many people actually live there year-round? I'm sure there are full-time residents. I'm sure most of the children do not go to public schools. And there's little, if any, well, if you really want to improve that area, put a bike lane, a protected bike lane, where people can actually ride down to the beach. All right, you want to save lives? Do that.
It's wide enough, but I hear your comments. I think we can move right forward.
I think a lot of people agree with what you're saying, David. And but again, if you can just look at it the bigger picture, why wouldn't it be wise of us to get a independent study so that we can make the right decision?
All I'm asking is that, did we do that same thing for a highway behind the pond when we put it on that street?
That's a dead end.
But I mean, it was speed bumps, right? Highway behind the pond.
Right. But it's a dead end. It's not through traffic on that street.
Right, but cars do speed, and
they speed. They speed on your street too. You know, we know that. You know,
not me, because I live right by the end.
Okay.
Okay. So I have made my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, is there anyone else here for public comment? Wonderful. All right, so we are going to close public comment and we're going to move into the motions and resolutions, please.
Resolution number 164 of 2024, approve claim vouchers for the month of December.
So moved. Second.
Passed and carried.
Resolution 165, approve warrants as listed. Guarantees number 29, General Fund number 30, 32, and 33, LoSAP number 31, Capital Fund number 34.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 166, approve budget transfer schedule number 4, reference number 4, dated January 2024.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 167, approve departmental reports.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 168, approve concerning erroneous real estate taxes and refund in the amount of $277.57 due to John and Marcel Kazikas to Representatives Heller and Consultants Tax Grievance.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 169, approve concerning erroneous real estate taxes paid and refund in the amount of $2,787.54 due to Randolph Slivka to Representatives Bonnet Tax Reduction Service.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 170, approve one-day non-resident beach parking permit sale for $500 for Town of East Hampton residents at 1 Cedar Street on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 171, approve $750 fee for non-resident beach parking permits as per Section 267.5C for the 2024 season with an effective date of February 1st, 2024.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 172, approve the proposal from LKMA, LK McLean Associates PE in the amount of $12,800 for a traffic analysis for LaForest Lane.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 173, approve Visterian Materials as the sole response as emergency snow contractor.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 174, approve Atlantic Salt as the village bulk salt provider under New York State contract.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passed and carried.
175, approve ADP's processing fees to be paid semi-monthly.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
176, approve rejection of all bids received for fence replacement at Millstone Park, located at 61 Main Street, with respect to the bid opening held on January 9th, 2024 at Village Hall.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 177, notice to bidders for fence replacement at Millstone Park, located at 61 Main Street, with the bid specs available on January 19th, 2024, with the bid opening to be held February 6th at 2 p.m. at Village Hall.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
If I could just explain that, I know I spoke to you guys individually about that, but I just do want to let public know that we had 3 people that were interested. One, I think, submitted late. Another one didn't sign the paperwork correctly. And so we decided to just throw out the bids and redo it again.
Wonderful.
That's all
Thank
that
you.
is.
Resolution number 178, 2024, notice to bidders for the lease of Sea Spray Cottage number 14, with the bid specs available on January 19th, 2024, with the bid opening to be held on February 6th at 2 p.m. at Village Hall.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 179 of 2024, notice for public hearing to be held on February 16th at 11 a.m. at at LTV Studios, 75 Industrial Road, Waynescott, for introductory number 1 of 2024, a proposed local law amending Chapter 18, Code of Ethics, subsection 18-2, definitions, municipal officer or employee.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 180 of 2024, notice for public hearing to be held on February 16th at 11 a.m. at LTV Studios, 75 Industrial Road, Waynescott, for introductory number 2 of 2024, a proposed local law amending Chapter 77 Beaches, Article 1, Beach Regulations, subsection 77-4, prohibited conduct, 77-5, vehicles on the beach, 77-6, operating a vehicle while under the influence, 77-12, temporary closure, and 77-14, locker permits.
Second, oh, sorry. I'm not used to. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 181 of 2024, notice for public hearing to be held on February 16th at 11 a.m. at LTV Studios for introductory number 3 of 2024, a proposed local law amending Chapter 267, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 1, General Regulations, Beach Parking, and subsection 267-7, parking time limited in designated locations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 182 of 2024, notice for public hearing to be held on February 16th at 11 a.m. LTV Studios, 75 Industrial Road, Waynescott, for introductory number 4 of 2024, a proposed local law amending Chapter 278, zoning, subsection 278-1, definitions, non-conforming buildings, and subsection 278-3, accessory building and structure design requirements and wetland setbacks, 278-3, wetland setbacks.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 183 of 2024, notice for public hearing to be held on February 16th, 11 a.m., LTV Studios, 75 Industrial Road, Waynescott, for introductory number 5, a proposed local law amending Chapter 163, freshwater wetlands.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 184 of 2024, notice for public hearing to be held on February 16th, 2024 at 11 a.m. at LTV Studios, 75 Industrial Road, Waynescott, for introductory number 6, a proposed local law amending Chapter 225, property maintenance and nuisance abatement, subsection 225-2, exterior maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 185 of 2024, notice for public hearing to be held on February 16th, 2024 at 11 a.m. LTV Studios, 75 Industrial Road, Waynescott, for introductory number 7 of 2024, a proposed local law amending Chapter 267, the designation of LaForest Lane as a one-way street south.
So wait, Marcos.
Yeah.
Since we're doing the traffic study, can we table this one?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is this resolution, Lorraine, we're gonna skip it and then put it on back.
Renotice it.
Renotice it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Resolution number 186, approve appointment of Linda Byer as Registrar of Vital Statistics, annual salary of $1,000, and Gabrielle McKay as Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics, annual salary of $600, effective February 1st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
187 of 2024, approve the retroactive payout of $88,102 on December 15th, 2023 to Chief Michael Tracy as per separation agreement, and approve transfer of funds from the Employee Benefit Leave Reserve Fund.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 188 of 2024, approve the $236,616.80 payout to Chief Michael Tracy as per separation agreement to be paid on February 15th, 2024 from the Employee Benefit Leave Reserve Fund.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mike. Passed and carried.
Resolution number 189 of 2024, approve the $50,642.55 payout to Pamela Bennett for unused vacation time, accumulated time, and prorated longevity to be paid on January 31st of 2024 from the Employee Benefit Leave Reserve Fund.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
Number 190, accept new fire department members Edison Collado and Jeremy Cosma, both for engine company number 5, and Lewis Trapp, hose company number 3.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome to the new members.
Number 191, approve reinstatement of Darren Downs longevity effective February 1st, 2024, per December 10th memo from Dave Collins.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Number 192, approve reinstatement of Darren Downs health insurance effective February 1st, 2024, per December 10th memo from Dave Collins.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 193, publish notice designated offices to be filled and terms thereof for the June 18th, 2024 election.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Thank you, Lorraine. That's a lot. Do we have anything else? Does the board have anything else they want to talk about? Anything? Marcus?
Yeah.
Lisa? You still with us?
Yes, still here.
Are we all good?
Yep.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, I guess with no further business, there will be no executive session today. Thank you all for coming, and I'd like to close this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Done. Closed. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love these.